Hello Sophia viewers, this is Sophia, one of your health and wellness coaches, and today I'm going to share with you my favorite muscle group to work out, which is going to be the core. I kind of like to focus on this muscle group for a couple of reasons. I feel like having a really tight core is the foundation to all of your other workouts, your muscle groups, and just having a really nice body symmetry and not having any imbalances. So I'll also use some movements that I like to do when I work out core. I will say that I usually save kind of my core blaster for the very end of my workout. Anytime I'm doing isolated movements for a certain muscle group, I will take the end to do it. Just a tidbit on that is, say we're going to be doing like squats or deadlifts or lat pull-ups where that core needs to be engaged. We want to wait to the end to kind of burn it out so that while we're doing those big compound movements where all of our muscles are going to be engaged, that core isn't going to be fatigued and kind of let go. So I wait to the very end to do my core blaster so that I can help support in our big muscle movements. So right now I'm going to show you two exercises that I like to do for the core. One is going to be penguins. So I'm going to be working on those obliques here. And then the other one I'm going to do is going to be clamshells to get the erectus abdominis, which is going to be the middle end through here. So I'll go ahead and get started on showing you those. So for the penguins, I'm going to come down on my mat here. I'm going to make sure that my heels are just out of reach of my fingertips, okay? Anytime we're doing core work, we want our core and our low back to be pressed into this mat. So right now, if you look, I couldn't slide my hand through here. The opposite would be an arched back so that I can then slide my hand. If you look, kind of see my fingers with it. We want to have that core nice and tight. Kind of turn the hips and pelvis area up towards the side to make sure that back is down and that core is engaged. From here, what I'm going to do is just lift my shoulders up above the ground a little bit. I'm going to reach towards that pinky toe, getting that core, that oblique engaged through the side. What we don't want to do is have our back here, that arch, and then move. Tighten that core up, that back, low back is nice and flat, press into the mat, and then I'm going to engage. Little pause, each direction, and I have my shoulder blades, you can see, up off the ground a little bit. I'm not here, and engage that core nice and tight, and then little pause, reaching towards those pinky toes. So that's going to be for my obliques. Another exercise that I like to do for the obliques is going to be side plank. Thread the needle, I'm rotating and reaching up. Try to do that on the opposite side. Same thing, hips up, and I'm going to reach my fingertips to the opposite side and up. Just like that. Those are going to be two of my favorite oblique exercises. And then one where I really feel that rectus abdominis engage is going to be clamshells. So this time I have my feet together. I'm going to spread those knees apart. What this is doing, rather than say a traditional sit-up or crunch, is you kind of push into your feet to get you up. This way, when I have them pressed together, I don't allow them to help my core come up. So I'm here, feet are pressed together. I'm going to keep my hands low. I'm going to crunch up, little pause, slowly come down. Same thing, little pause, and slowly come down. And I'm still making sure before I have good form, the low back is pressed into the mat, and we're not just dropping. Control it, come up. Slowly lower down. Those muscles are still working, both on that eccentric and concentric phase of that movement. Coming down, little pause, slowly come down. And my feet aren't working. They're totally blocked off, having them pressed together. Those are going to be kind of three of my favorite exercises that I like to do. I know another popular one that I see a lot of people doing is leg raises. What tends to happen with these is as those legs are lowering, that movement is going to get harder. And then you start to see that back arch, which we talked about earlier, which is kind of a big no-no. So what I would say is think about form. So you start up, and the lower you go, the more challenging it's going to be. Say if we get to this angle right here, and that low back starts to come up, then reduce that range of motion. Just go down far enough to where we can still keep that good form, and that low back press down into the mat. A modification on those would be having those knees bent, taking those heels down to 90 degrees. Excuse me, bringing it back up. So heel taps. That would be the progression if the leg raises within straight or too hard. So kind of to recap a little bit what I said about working with the core, we always want to think about form over anything to really make sure that that core is working. It's nice and tight, that low back pressed into the mat, and never forgetting about that dropping phase as we're coming back. We don't want to let our body just slam down. Think about that core and spine slowly rolling back down. But I just wanted to share with you guys my favorite muscle group to work out, which is going to be the core. I think the real whole foundation for the body, and if you have a strong core, it's just going to help translate to everything else, and you really feel you're getting that strength. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. I hope you enjoyed my little kind of core demo, and you can take these tips into your next workout.